Welcome to the spirit world, answering your questions on angels, demons, and how the spiritual and physical worlds interact. And now your hosts, Debbie Georgianni and Adam Bly.
Well, hello there, and welcome to the Spirit World. I am Debbie Georgianni with my co-host, Adam Bly, religious demonologist. And yes, we're waving to everybody on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, X, Rumble, and Twitch. Thanks, you guys. You have been following the Spirit World, and we're so grateful. Well, we're going to get going today with the title of the show is All Good Gifts on the feast day of St. Nicholas, and we're talking about gift giving today. We are opening up the phone lines, but before we do any of that, Adam, you always start us with the St. Michael prayer.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Saint Michael the Archangel, defend us in battle. Be our protection against the wickedness and snares of the devil. May God rebuke him, we humbly pray, and do thou, O Prince of the heavenly host, by the power of God, cast into hell Satan and all the evil spirits who prowl about the world, seeking the ruin of souls. Amen. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Okay, so we have the show team in place, Adam. We have our senior producer, Tim Mott. He's at the controls doing a fine job for Guadalupe Radio Network. We're being heard on the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network. So hi to the whole entire world. We're so grateful to be here for the Spirit World. We have our show team with our call screeners, Libby and Carol. They're ready to answer your calls. We're talking all about gift giving today, all good gifts on this feast day of St. Nicholas. This is your show, The Spirit World, and we expect the Spirit World family to weigh in on this. So we're going to be talking about St. Nicholas. We're going to be talking about giving gifts, receiving gifts. What does it mean to really understand the gift, right? We're going to talk all about that, but we want to hear from you. So if you have something to say, please call in right now, or we always want to extend the invitation for those that are first-time callers. If you want to call in about anything about angels or demons or anything in between, if we can try to squeeze your call in, we will, because that's what this show is all about, the spirit world, the invisible world, right? So 877-757-9424 is the number to call, 877-757-9424. Please start filling up those phone lines. And Adam, I know we're going to talk about the great Bishop St. Nicholas and all of the stories surrounding St. Nicholas, Santa Claus, like we like to say, and it's very interesting, the legend behind this great saint. But really, the idea is to really give a gift in a way that's really going to help another person, not to expect anything, right, Adam? Not to expect anything, but to really give generously.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So we don't know a whole lot about the original, St. Nicholas, but he lived in modern-day Turkey, which was then called Myra. This is Asia Minor. This was during the 4th century. And, originally he was a teenager, wealthy family. His parents died before he was an adult. So he inherited this money, and his uncle took him in. But his uncle was a priest, so he was really kind of inspired and affected by his uncle and his uncle's priesthood in the faith. Early on, he had this inheritance, and the original gift-giving thing came from he had become aware of a man who had 3 daughters, but they were poor, and he couldn't afford the dowries. And in those days, you had to offer a dowry for a daughter to be married. The dowry was kind of a payment to the man who was marrying her.
Right. And the bride's wealth, what she contributes to it.
She brings. So she brings something to the marriage in terms of a worldly sense. Well, he secretly gave gold to them to be used as a dowry. And, one of the legends is it was in their stockings, hanging by the fire. And that's where we get the stocking hanging by the fireplace today, which a lot of us still have that tradition. And, basically he asked the father not to tell anybody that he had given this. Again, like you just said, like it wasn't about him getting known as a nice guy or wanting a thank you. He was trying to do this secretly. So, he enters the priesthood. He eventually becomes the bishop of Myra. And he continues to be known for being generous. His generosity continues. And this is, where we get the Saint Nick, and a number of different things. In some places, oranges are associated and candy canes are associated with St. Nicholas. Oranges are kind of an allegory for the gold, right? They're kind of a gold color. So it's a reference to that.
Right.
And the candy cane is actually a reference to the crozier, the staff that the bishop has with the curl at the top. That was a reference to his crozier being associated with him. So a lot of ideas of charity, meaning charity in the sense of, giving in love, not to receive. And that inspired so many people, and that tradition spread around the world, and it ended up evolving into our ideas of Santa Claus today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I heard it said in the tradition that Santa Claus, the term, the title, came out of kind of a maybe like a misunderstanding or a twisted understanding of the word Nicholas, and so then came Santa Claus as we know today, which has become this figure that we associate Christmas with. But really, there's a truth behind this, and that is Saint Nicholas. And
Right.
so it's important to understand. And I also heard, when you were saying about the stockings, I heard that the gold he threw into the window. And then it got moved to the chimney, so
Right.
see how things change. And even the red and white stripes on the candy cane, a lot of associated that with sacrifice and Jesus, and so there's all these stories that can come out of the real life figure of the bishop Saint Nicholas in the 4th century, and whether some of them are handed down stories, traditions, or whatever, the truth remains that this actual saint lived and showed his great generosity to those that were less fortunate, and that is the key. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's, when people say, is Santa Claus real? You say, yeah, St. Nicholas. Yes, right. And that's the beauty of it, is really, and these stories are precious to children, and adults love them as well, and we remember it. And why? Because when we are given a gift, Adam, wouldn't you say, when we're given gifts, it is so precious because it shows that we matter and we're valued. And so if somebody were to give you a gift, you're like, wow, you really noticed me. You really accepted me, and I love this whole concept of the gift. I was sharing with Adam prior to the show that in religious education, we used to do this exercise with the the junior high and high schoolers. And we would wrap a beautiful box, and we'd wrap it with beautiful paper and a shiny bow and a beautiful ribbon, and we'd place it in the middle of the room, and we'd put it right there on a table in the middle of the room. And so we'd have all of the kids stare at this gift, right? And we would say, okay, and we would just go around the room and we'd ask them, what do you think about this? You see this gift? And then, a lot of kids would say, well, I'm curious what's in it, or why is the gift here? Is the gift for me? Is the gift for somebody else? Do we have to do something to earn that gift? All these things that, I love the way junior high and high schoolers will come up with all these things. Well, then we would go on to say, well, no, this gift, if this gift was given to you, what are your options then? And the kids would say, well, I could open the gift. I could rip open the package and open the gift and see what's inside. I could say thank you for the gift. Some said I could reject the gift. Some said I could open the gift and put it on the shelf, or I could not open the gift and put it on the shelf, or I could re-gift it. All these options. And then we elevated that conversation to what it means when God gives us these amazing gifts, and grace is, incredible gifts we receive. And what do we do when we receive these gifts from God? How do we respond? And we elevated that conversation to that. It was so fascinating because the junior high and high schoolers would say to us, they view gift giving in a whole different way when they see that it's not just, here, I'm handing you a gift. Oh, thank you. I'm opening the gift, and then you move on with life. And so they're really understanding the depth of all good gifts, and all good gifts are given by God, of course, and the gift giving process. And it really changed the way they looked at it. So I just find this conversation so fascinating. I love talking about it on the Feast of St. Nicholas. We're already getting phone lines lighting up, and I'd love to hear what our listeners have to say. And I know Adam, he loves to go to the phones at 877-757-9424. And Adam, before you continue, I wanted to share this because I don't believe there's any accident. You know, the Holy Spirit is working. Excuse me. I believe the Holy Spirit is working on Catholic radio. And this was so moving to me last night. My husband got the mail late last night, and we had some Christmas cards in the mail. And this Christmas card came in from Jennifer and Matthew. So if you're listening, thank you so much for the Christmas card. They're listeners to Take Two, and I'm sure they're listeners to the Spirit World. And they sent, and I'm going to put it up on the video. So they sent this card, and right on the front of it, it's so beautiful, and it says, "The greatest gift to the world." Okay. And I don't believe there's any accident. It's like, I think God was saying, okay, you guys are on the right track talking about this today. And then you open it up and it says, "The greatest gift to the world was given this day," meaning December 25th. It says, "Receive him through faith, rejoice in hope, and experience the peace of his love this Christmas season." And then it has James 1:17, "For every perfect gift is from above and comes down from the Father of lights." And I just don't believe there's any accident to that, Adam. I'm going to show the card again on the social media streams, and it's just so powerful because this idea of God giving gifts, and He gives them to us all the time through grace, and it's so beautiful how we are open enough to receive them, and then, Adam, to be a gift to others. Can you talk about that for a moment?
Yeah. So the idea that Christmas isn't so much about getting things from other people and giving gifts to each other, but it's about appreciating the ultimate gift that God gave, where He gave Himself. He gave His only begotten Son, and He gave salvation to the world. And that really, at the end of the day, should be our focus. And that should be the biggest thank you and the biggest joy that we receive this Christmas.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing. I love this show. So start calling in all good gifts. We're talking about gift giving today on the Feast of St. Nicholas for this wonderful The Spirit World episode. Please join us. And the number is 877-757-9424. That's 877-757-9424. And let's really explore this together the way the Spirit World family does. And we do need your help. We do need your advice, your wisdom, your lived experience. It's all about you guys. So please call in, and Adam and I will be right back.
This is Franciscan Media's Saint of the Day for December 6th. Today we celebrate St. Nicholas. Children of all ages can readily identify the saint we honor today, the man with the twinkling eyes, the smiling face, and the ample body in the pillowed red suit. We don't know exactly what he looked like, nor do we have many hard facts about him, but that is no impediment to his popularity. Historically, we can pinpoint only the fact that Nicholas was the bishop of Myra in Asia Minor in the 4th century. Perhaps the best-known legend about him concerns his charity toward a poor man who was unable to provide dowries for his 3 daughters of marriageable age. Rather than see them forced into prostitution, Nicholas secretly tossed a bag of gold through the poor man's window on 3 separate occasions so all the daughters could be married. In time, this legend evolved into the custom of gift-giving on the saint's feast. In English-speaking countries, St. Nicholas became Santa Claus by a twist of the tongue, further expanding the example of generosity portrayed by this holy bishop. Though Nicholas died in the mid-4th century, his legend lives on.
The new Saint of the Day app is available now for your smartphone or tablet. From Franciscan Media, this has been Saint of the Day.
The Spirit World continues with Debbie Georgiani and Adam Bly. If you have a question for the show, call 877-757-9424 or email tsw@grnonline.com.
Okay, we are back, and we would love to have your phone call, 877-757-9424, if you want to say something about giving gifts, and all good gifts come from God. If you want to talk about that, maybe you received a gift and it really changed something inside of you. We'd love to hear the story. So, Patrick, hold on. You're a first-time caller, and we're just going to talk a little bit more, a few things about St. Nicholas. And Adam wants to share with all of us this incredible tradition in the church, and he's going to talk a little bit about that because, remember, Monday is the Immaculate Conception, and it is a holy day of obligation. So please remember that, and we want to just highlight that because we won't be with you on Monday. We'll be with you, God willing, next Saturday. So for the Open Forum show. But Adam, I know you wanted to share this great tradition in the church.
Yeah, so as we were saying before the break, the focus on Jesus and the incarnation, and that being the big gift from God. So I attended this beautiful Mass. I didn't know about this Mass until last year, and it's called the Rorate Mass. And this started also in the 4th century, just like St. Nicholas did. It was a custom originally over in Europe, spread around the world, mainly the West, and it was a Mass that's a votive Mass in honor of the Blessed Mother, in honor of Mary, and it's celebrated before dawn by candlelight. So at the church where I was able to go to it, and they're doing it again this year, they put out, there had to be 500 candles all throughout the church, along the walls, under the stained glass windows, down the aisles, tons around the front, and all the lights are off, and it's done before dawn. And so the whole church is lit by candlelight, and it's very quiet and prayerful, and people are not chatting like they normally do before Mass. And the Mass is timed such that the sun rises at the culmination of the Mass, at the consecration. And it's so beautiful to see the stained glass windows slowly lighting up. And by the end of the Mass, at the dismissal, it's daylight. And it's just such a beautiful kind of symbolism of the light entering the world, and the gift that through Mary's cooperation, right? There's a bit of Mary's cooperation and her role in this, and the gift of Mary given to us, the Immaculate Conception, enjoying the salvation that Christ brings, even before he did it, because she had this particular role, and she was a unique creature that received that salvation and so was born without original sin. And so there's a dawning of Christ and the light in the world, but the focus on the vessel that carried that light into the world. Mm-hmm. So it's just, this Mass doesn't happen everywhere. I don't know how widespread it is, but it's been around since the 4th century. It may not be as extensive with the candles in some places, but I'll tell you, Deb, it's one of those kind of, you feel like you're timeless. You feel like you're floating during the Mass. It is just such a special thing. So if you can find it, it's called the Rorate Mass, and it's in honor of Mary. It would be, in the morning on Saturdays, and it's any Saturday during Lent.
Advent.
I'm sorry. I'm already thinking about Lent, the other penitential season.
Don't rush that, because Lent is very hard on me. I'm telling you.
The holidays are tumbling past, so I'm already beyond them.
For Advent, yeah.
So any Saturday in Advent, check around, see if it's happening in your diocese. If you've never been to one, at least go once, because it's really special.
So Rorate Cheli means drop down, ye heavens, from above, and let the clouds rain down the righteous one. I love this. This is so beautiful, the liturgical meaning, and it's so beautiful, and it's during Advent, like Adam said, and it's just incredible. So what a moving experience to attend this beautiful Mass in honor of Our Lady. Wow. Wow. Thank you for sharing with us, Adam. I have never, believe it or not, I've been around a long time. Maybe I have heard of it in the past, but I must have forgotten it. So I'm going to look into it. This is beautiful. I'm going to see if we have one in our diocese, or if it's happening. Wow. Powerful. Okay. Anything else you'd like to share about St. Nicholas or Our Lady coming up on Immaculate Conception?
Just that, we always have strong experiences on Fridays, but I'll tell you, it was beautiful. A number of the enemy were cast out, related to invoking Mary on Friday, and specifically invoking the Immaculate Conception and the grace that she received. And we were dealing with a particularly prideful demon at one point, and it was trying to incite pride. And some of the priests, they do this manipulation where they try to convince a priest that he's holy, and you wouldn't expect that, but they're trying to incite pride. And so we asked Mary to come in her humility and obedience as a counter to the pride and disobedience that these things. And as with all the major Marian feast days, we see lots of movement forward in the cases through asking for Mary's intercession. So, and when I first brought up to Father in the middle of the session, I said, Father, maybe we should ask Mary to come, under the title of the Immaculate Conception. The demon immediately turned and said, I knew you were going to bring that up. I knew you were going to bring that up. Don't talk about that. So it was, it's always good to invoke Mary, particularly in deliverance situations.
She's so powerful, so powerful. Well, Adam, are you ready to get to the phones?
Absolutely.
And she, with her yes, she brought us the greatest gift. So let's remember that, and please get to Mass on Monday. It's a holy day of privilege. I know it's a holy day of obligation in the church, but we call it a holy day of privilege. You need to go, you should want to go, you get to go, and it's incredible. So we're going to get to the phones now. Patrick, our first-time caller from Birmingham, Alabama, has been waiting the whole show already, and we are so proud of him for doing that. He's showing his patience. So Patrick, listening on EWTN Radio, welcome to the program.
Well, thank you, and thank you, Adam, for the education. Anything on a Saturday belongs to Our Lady as it is, so thank you very much for the education on that. Well.
Yes, thank you. So go right ahead. So share what you wanted to bring to this discussion.
Yeah, pretty simple and brief. At First Saturday Mass today, Father said we have extra bulletins, so you can make a gift of parish bulletins to your neighbors, even your good Jewish neighbors, Protestants. Let them know what we're doing. Let them know what St. Nicholas did. They all know St. Nicholas and Santa Claus, etc. So that was his comment. And at EWTN yesterday, which is my parish up here in Irondale, Alabama, EWTN said, go into the gift store and we'll have scapulars available for you to give to neighbors as gifts. But, remembering, try to make it spiritual, give them a candle, give them anything that would remind them of the scheduling, like you said, of the saints of the day and how it's celebrated, like you've just done now with the Immaculate Conception. So it's outstanding. And again, parish schedules. Hey, today, First Saturday, if you're going to be there at your parish for an evening Mass, and they have the bulletins or they have the calendars. We have our Christmas calendars out already. The gifts they give to the parishioners. Right. Give a calendar to your neighbor. Tack one up in your apartment building. And give one to the landlord. I'm lucky. Yeah. Mine is Orthodox Greek. So after all the work Pope Leo did in Turkey, I think we'll be passing them out to his neighbors. So that's all. God bless you for your radio station, and thank you for your kind attention to Our Lady.
Oh, well, thank you, Patrick. I know you're a first-time caller, but please call us again. But stay on the line with us because Adam and I want to comment on what you were saying. Adam, if I may, let me just share this, Patrick. I've said this many times on radio. Enough already with the how do I say this? With the sweaters and the secular items and all the things that are given during the holidays. How about we do exactly what you just said, Patrick? Give something that somebody could refer back to, could see in their home, could maybe when they're having a low moment, they glance over and they see a picture of a saint or the bulletin or something that will trigger in their mind, wow, maybe I should go to church. We have so many clever and creative ways to evangelize. And if we don't start using them, I just believe that we're going to lose the ability to influence others, because social media is doing it for us and it's not doing it in a good way. And so I think everybody can buy their own sweater, and everybody can. Now, if somebody needs clothing, of course you give them that as a gift. Of course you do that. But you know what I'm saying. I mean, enough with the, can openers and the bottles of wine and all the kinds of stuff. I mean, let's really get into what we can do in a clever, creative, holy way to influence each other, to have them think about God. Just think about God. Even if they turn their attention to God, we have done our job. And so I've said this many times, and that's why I tell everybody, go to EWTNRC.com, the religious catalog, and pick up as many items as you can to give as gifts, because that's your way.
Deductible too.
Yeah. Yeah. So I love what are your thoughts on that, Adam? Am I too extreme?
No. We just had some Christmas calendars become available on Friday. I noticed some stacked up. And think about that. Take one or two. Don't take the whole stack, but take one or two and give them as gifts to people that maybe aren't going to Mass or are curious about the faith. It's a way to bring something beautiful into your home that you'll notice, and it spurs that thought. So, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I love it. Patrick, you are awesome. Thank you so much for starting this episode today with us. We appreciate it. We're so happy that you shared those kind words, and a blessed Advent to you, Patrick. Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to Marie. Marie is a first-time caller in Dallas, Texas, listening on the Guadalupe Radio Network. Marie, welcome to the program.
Oh, thank you for having me. I wanted to ask you a question. We have a student in our group he's a wonderful young man. However, he has been demonstrating some ability to he's angry about a lot of different things, and he'll be great and then he won't be. He's involved with these card games called like Magic the Gathering, and he does a lot of that sort of kind of gaming on the side. He's unfortunately been involved with pornography, and we're trying to help him. We've gone to our church, we've gone to the parents, we've gone all the way up in our safety group with our church, and everybody keeps circling back. Try to take it back to the parents, and our younger priest is trying to work with us on helping him. But what we're concerned with is we were meeting today. We think that he has opened a door to the demonic. And by being involved with at least pornography, that is an open portal for him. And what I want to know is, what do you think we should do to help him? Where can we go? Do we call someone in our diocese? Because we're trying not to be too extreme.
Right. Real quickly, is this a Catholic school?
Youth group.
Oh, it's a youth group, so it's part of the parish. Okay, Adam, go ahead.
Yes.
Okay, Marie. So, you have to be careful about talking about extraordinary demonic stuff like infestation and oppression and possession versus the regular, which is temptation. So we're all tempted. The enemy's always around. It's like bacteria. It's just kind of everywhere, and it can harm you if you don't take precautions. But dabbling with, what he's dabbling with isn't the same as opening a door in the sense of doing black magic or being involved in a serious, demonic pact or something like that. So yes, those sins are serious. Yes, they spiral down into worse things, but that doesn't mean he's possessed. He's influenced, but we're all influenced. We're all tempted. We're all influenced to some extent, and God allows that. So for what he's dealing with, If he's angry, it usually indicates, just usually, I don't know this kid, usually indicates was some trouble growing up. There's some trouble in the family, some trouble with the parents. You know, trying to get him some counseling maybe on those issues could be good. Even if it was a little less formal, you know, sitting with the priest once a month, try to figure out what the issues might be and then refer him to a counselor that would be appropriate for that. But then, of course, prayer. You know, if you do think he's maybe doing something more serious with the occult, prayer and providing some information to him. He's old enough to make his own choices, so he needs to make the choice. You can't force him. So maybe providing a good book, if he's interested, on the truth behind the occult is another thing.
Yeah, that's that's a really good idea. And one of Adam's books, maybe. Okay, so let me ask you this, Marie, a couple questions. How old is this teen?
16.
He's 16. Is there something going on in the home? Are they getting a divorce or something of that nature?
No, they're not. And they're busy parents, extremely busy parents. I think that they do care. That's not it. But the types of actions that he's been taking has concerned his leaders that he might harm himself or harm others. And we're just, everybody keeps circling us back and saying, you know, go to this person. And it's like we're not getting anywhere with it. Right. And it's a burden on the leadership. Doesn't know what to do. They're young, very young leaders. And that tends to be a difficulty too. So,
sure. Yeah. So is the pastor stepping in and taking the lead on this?
No, not at all.
How come?
I don't know. It's because they call that a safety situation when you're talking about youth group. They put it through safe environment, and it circles back to the safe environment leader, who circles back and says it's on the parents. And the parents say, well, the leaders are doing a good job. They're taking care of this problem, but the leaders are very youthful and very, very young and under 20. And so I'm an adult. I'm much older, but we're kind of we're stuck, and we know that it isn't getting better.
Right. Well, you know, I was a youth minister for many, many years, and I was a religious education director for a long time, so many years. I can tell you that somebody who's very, you know, mature, like yourself, should really go back to the parents and sit down with the parents and say, listen, there's an obvious problem here. We are not equipped to take care of this. We really need some direction from you as the parents on how to handle this, because we're seeing the problems. We're seeing the red flags here, and we're very concerned for your son. So what's the plan? Somebody needs to take the lead on this. If the heads of the department are not that experienced, then somebody should take it from there. Is there a school attached to this parish?
No, not at all, unfortunately.
Okay, because you could have gotten counselors then. Okay, so I would really somebody who's the mature adults in the room need to go back to the parents, and if you have to go back repeatedly, I would go back every week until the parents get it in their head that there's something going on with this teen. One of the things, Marie, I will tell you, in all the years I served in parish ministry, that when catechists and lay leaders saw a problem, there usually was a problem, and there is a problem. It's just the way it is. I believe that the Lord puts it in these catechists' hearts and souls to do something, or to feel that nudging of the Spirit to do something. And I agree with Adam. Pray for him. Definitely start getting catechists together to pray for him, and maybe provide the resources like Adam was saying. I think that's excellent. But I got to tell you, it goes back and falls on the parents. So I would keep approaching the parents, Marie.
Okay. That's so helpful. Thank you so much. I appreciate your opinions. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're quite welcome. I used to deal with this all the time, believe me. But I have to tell you, I worked for pastors that would step in, and they were wonderful. And they would say, you know, Debbie, you can do this, do that. They would tell me my parameters. So it's unfortunate that you don't have that leadership there, but you guys can do it by just reaching the parents. So Marie, God bless you. We'll be praying for this situation and praying for this young man as well. Thank you. Okay, you hear that music? We're going to take our second and final break. That's right, because our senior producer Tim Mott said only 2 breaks today, Debbie. 2 breaks, that's it. And so now we're going to get to the phones when we come back with Ron and Frank, and hopefully you, if you'd like to call in. We're talking about gift giving today. All good gifts come from God, that's right, and we want to talk all about God and Our Lady coming up on Immaculate Conception. So please call in at 877-757-9424. And again, Adam and I will be right back.
Hi, this is Trent Horn from Catholic Answers. Has anyone ever told you that they believe abortion is wrong, except in the case of rape? It's easy for pro-lifers to come off as uncaring towards women when they talk about this issue, especially if they only say rape accounts for 1% of abortions. That's true, but more should be said. Strongly affirm that rape is an awful crime, and that women are victimized when others don't take this crime seriously. Some countries execute rape victims in honor killings, which is barbaric. In our country, we don't execute rapists, much less rape victims, and yet we execute the child who was conceived in rape, the other innocent party. Shouldn't we oppose acts of violence against rape victims and the children conceived through rape? This has been Trent Horn with a Catholic Answers Pro-Life Minute. For my free pro-life booklet that will make you better at defending human life, visit whyweareprolife.com.
What's life coaching? Life coaching has been around for many years, helping people with their relationships, careers, health, and finances. With Stand Tall, it's all Christ-centered. We focus on mind, body, and spirit, taking life coaching to a whole new level. At StandTallToday.com, you can meet one of our experienced life coaches. Today is the day the Lord has made. So begin today with a new path for your life at StandTallToday.com.
The Spirit World continues with Debbie Georgiani and Adam Bly. If you have a question for the show, call 877-757-9424 or email tsw@grnonline.com.
We got a lot of social media comments coming in. We'll weave them into this discussion in just a moment. We want to get back to the phones, but Adam, real quickly, just back to Marie's call. I just wanted to say to parents, if you're listening to the Spirit World today, please, you are the primary catechists of your children. Please don't expect a Catholic elementary school or a Catholic religious education program at a parish to do all of the fulfill all of the religious needs for your child. That is not the way it works. You know, to have your child an hour or 90 minutes once a week is not going to do it. It's the parents. The parents must step in, and they are the catechists. We can fill in things and help, and and jump in certain areas, and maybe introduce certain precepts of the church and the teachings and all things like that. But we're not going to cover everything for your child. Please, Marie's call really disturbed me, because I see a lot of that where parents will drop their kids off thinking, okay, they're taken care of spiritually. That's just not the case. So it has to happen at home. And if it's not happening at home, be careful, because your kids they're going to finish religious education not fully formed, because they need their parents to do that work. Wouldn't you say, Adam?
Yeah, they're certainly going to benefit from religious education, but you have to lay the foundation at home, and also in the way the family lives and how you model behavior in front of your kids. Mm-hmm. You have to provide that good model. Take them to Mass, go to Mass yourself, try to live out a good Christian life in front of your kids.
I love that. Okay. We're going to get to Ron. Adam, Ron is in Los Angeles, California, and Ron is on the EWTN app. Hi, Ron. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Debbie. Good morning, Adam. I'm glad to have a moment to remember the show live to listen in and call.
Thank you.
I got in late on the topic, and I thought, when it came to thoughts of gift giving, the one thing I had to remember in Thanksgiving is that God and Jesus, and particularly in my mind, is every reason why I'm here on this earth and why I still exist for 65 years. And given all the physical stuff I've been dealing with, especially the last week and a half fighting for my life here, when I was able to drive, I had to go for my birthday especially. I would go to the church and be sometimes prostrate before our Lord at the tabernacle and say, thank you for my life.
Ron, you have a grateful heart. You are going through so much. You've been through a lot. You're a survivor. You are really hanging on in a faithful way, Ron. And you've been with us for a long, long time. You're a dear friend of Catholic Radio. And Adam, what would you say to Ron? Because he is very grateful for all of God's gifts.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that the church and God calls us to, Scripture calls us to, is that we be grateful at all times, and not just when things are going good, right? It's easy to be grateful when things are going good, but it's when things are not going so good, and to still be grateful for our life. And, Ron, I share that with you. Often the first thing when I'm just talking with God and having a time of prayer is thanking God for my life, for my health, for having a job, for the people in my life. But it starts with even giving me life in the first place. And of course, his mercy, that he's put up with so much and still, gives me things to do. So I think gratitude, especially gratitude for our lives, is really healthy because that helps with humility. And it reminds us that, it's really not good to bellyache to God when things are going poorly. I know it sounds trite, but God does bring good out of everything. And there's often a reason why he's allowing us to go through a difficulty. But, the gratitude for life and health and family at this time of year in particular, I think it's a good place to start. I don't know about you, Deb.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you, Adam. Ron, you are such a gift to us. Always remember that. And we love you dearly, and stay strong. You're a strong man, and you can do this and we have a lot of prayer support around you, Ron, and we just wish you a continued blessed Advent. Okay.
I thank you, and many blessings during this Advent and Christmas coming.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Ron. Stay in touch, please. Zoma on Facebook, please wave at him, says, I make rosaries and I give them to my Catholic friends, priests, deacons, and more. I love that, Zoma. Thank you so very much for sharing. That's the way to evangelize and to spread the faith, and you're living out your baptismal call. That is beautiful. If you'd like to share something, you still have time. We still have a little bit of the show left. We can squeeze you in very quickly at 877-757-9424 if you have something to add to this discussion. And remember, when you give a gift, give it freely without any expectation. Give it from your heart and let it go to that person and let go of the outcome. Don't expect something in return. Don't expect any response. Just give it freely. Try doing that and practicing that and watch how amazing it is that you realize when God gives you the graces, when God gives you the gifts, how he does that. He's giving it with just freely to us. It's undeserved, and he gives it to us. And so it's a beautiful feeling when we can make the choice to respond in a way back with love. And it's so incredible. So, the gift giving process and what it does to us, if you really take time during this Advent and slow down and see what it's all about, you'll get the inner true meaning of it. Okay, let's hear what Frank has to say, Adam. Another first-time caller, Adam, from Park Ridge, Illinois, on the EWTN app. Hi, Frank. Welcome to the Spirit World.
Oh, thanks for taking my call. In regards to giving Christmas gifts, I think this is a wonderful idea. It helps the Franciscan missions. For $30, you can receive two 12-ounce bottles of honey in a real nice little wooden box with a plexiglass cover. And you can reach them at www.franciscanmissions.org. And they're located in Waterford, Wisconsin. I give them to all my friends, and they just love them.
I love that idea,
really,
Frank. Yeah.
Thank you. Help
Yeah.
the missions, heck.
Yeah,
So-
I love that, and it's so beautiful. And you're right. You're reminding them where it comes from. You're supporting a great organization, and that's the reason why I suggest, Adam, where people should also go to EWTN Religious Catalog, because you're supporting EWTN, right? And you can get these beautiful gifts. Same what you're talking about, the Franciscan missions, Frank, and also, let's not forget that a lot of these Franciscan orders, you have the ability to make a donation for masses for the living. So wouldn't it be beautiful to have masses said as a gift for the living for Christmas? It would be beautiful. So there's so many ways you can continue this where it's so meaningful for the person's soul, and it reminds them of God, like you're doing, Frank, and supporting a great organization. I love it, Frank. What do you say, Adam?
Yeah, there's also enrollment in perpetual masses in a number of organizations and ways to do it. I just received that gift a couple weeks ago from some people. I had received it for my father when my father passed. Somebody sent me a gift of enrolling him in terms of praying for the dead as mass intentions. But yeah, Deb, what you're getting at there, why not give a gift of something related to grace? It doesn't have to be a worldly thing. It doesn't have to be a gaming console or something. Those are fun and people want them. But yeah, ultimately the grace of a mass, boy, that would be, I know a lot of people wouldn't maybe understand it right away, but they're going to be helped by it, and they may appreciate it later and understand it later.
Absolutely. You have to elevate people's minds and understanding when in terms of God. It's so important. And we introduce that. And in the gifts we give, we can actually help those to look up instead of looking to this world, right? And that's key. That's a mystical sense that we need to tap into. Frank, great call. Thank you so much. You were a first-time caller, but now you got to call us again. Check in with us. Thank you so much, Frank. Have a blessed Advent. We're going to get to George. George is in Austin, Texas, on the EWTN app. Another first-time caller, Adam, and we've got one right behind George. And George, take it away. Welcome.
Hey, how y'all doing?
We're doing well, thank you.
Cool. I just wanted to bring up something not related to the topic, but so the other day, as I'm driving to my house, it's like an S-curve driveway. I noticed that it looks like it was an intentionally placed cow skull in the middle of my driveway. And so I guess I'm just kind of curious as the spiritual impacts of that, or it didn't look like it was just random, but it just definitely enough to get my attention.
Yeah. So George, was it on the edge of the driveway at the very beginning, or somebody walked halfway up?
They had to walk more than halfway up to put it there. It was directly in the center of in between the tires kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well,
somebody had to definitely walk up the driveway.
Yeah, so of course it's not necessarily spiritual at all, right? It could just be kids being goofy. So I wouldn't assume it's necessarily spiritual. I can tell you the way it usually works when people are trying to get a curse onto somebody or their home or both. They often will do it right outside the boundary of the property, and they either leave something that's attractive that the person's going to go pick up and say, oh, this is neat, and willfully take it onto their property and maybe put it in their home. That's one way they do it. Or they will do kind of a ritual and leave some ugly things, but right on the edge of the property. They don't have the right, because they're not the owners of the property, they don't have the spiritual authority to come on the property and have that effect. The owner has to in some way willfully take it in. Now, with this, kind of the bottom line is, for anybody that's had something like this happen, the bottom line is just get rid of it. when in doubt, throw it out is a good rule of thumb with objects. Now, if they're objects that are inherently attractive, you don't want to throw them out in a way that somebody's going to notice them at the trash dump and pick them up and take them home, because there are guys working out at the dumps. So wrap it up or cover it up. But basically get rid of it, and then don't give it a second thought. Just let it go.
And one other thing I would suggest, though, Adam, tell me what you think about this. George, are you Catholic? Is George with us? George, are you Catholic?
Yes.
Are you Catholic?
Yes.
Okay. I would suggest this. There are prayers that you can say to walk around the parameter of around your house and your home and your land, and with holy water or blessed salt. And there's beautiful prayers. And I've done this with my home. And I've also had a lot of people in the Catholic Church that have had just feelings of different things with neighbors or whatever, or people that just, they feel like, oh, they could be somebody I'm having a disturbance with, or somebody's trying to play a prank. They will actually get a miraculous medal. They'll have it blessed, and they'll actually bury it in the yard. Now, remember where you bury it. Put it in a Ziploc bag. Remember where you buried it. But they'll actually do that. And I've heard this said by many nuns, many sisters, that this is really a beautiful added sacramental, brings protection and peace. And so what do you think of that, Adam? Because I've done that many times with my home.
Yeah, I suppose you could do that. Normally, things are buried once they're in what's called an undignified state, meaning they're worn out or broken. They need to either be burned or buried at that point if they've been blessed. Now, if you're sealing it in a bag to protect it and you make note of it, I suppose that would be fine.
A lot of nuns suggest it. Mm-hmm. I've had a lot of orders say that, yeah.
And when we've been dealing with problematic situations, like bad people trying to spiritually attack like a monastery or a convent or things like that, we will do that thing of taking a large supply of the exercise and blessed salt and walking the perimeter and sprinkling it just a little bit, and praying the whole way. And that's been really, really helpful, I can tell you, in a number of situations.
Okay, George, we hope that helps. Have a blessed Advent. Thank you so much for calling in. We want to squeeze in very quickly Bill, first-time caller from Foxborough, Massachusetts, on Instagram. Bill, just to warn you, we only have 1 minute. Could you please share a quick story with us, Bill? Bill, are you with us? Okay, we're not going to get to Bill. All right, Bill, maybe we can have our call screeners, Libby and Carol, pick up the line with Bill and hear that there's a miraculous story here, it sounds like. So maybe we'll get that for a future show. Thank you again to all of our callers today. I want to thank Patrick and Marie and Ron and Frank and George, and we tried to get Bill on. This was an amazing show. Adam, any final comments as we close this wonderful episode on gift giving? All good gifts. I love it. Come from God. What a beautiful show it was today, and the support we received from all of our Spirit World listeners. You guys are amazing.
Yeah, Deb, I love the theme of appreciating the gifts we've received from God. First and foremost, life, and then the salvation that Jesus brought and paid for us. Appreciating those gifts, giving in the charitable way. In the sense of not for self and not for recompense back, that kind of beautiful godlike love that doesn't do things for a selfish motive. So giving that way, and then giving of graces, praying for people, having Mass said for them, giving them a holy object, giving them a rosary that you made, giving them a holy image, that kind of thing, something that can pay dividends later for them, even if they don't realize it right now. Every little bit of grace accumulates in our lives, and that's God reaching out to us.
Beautifully said. Well, thank you so much to the Spirit World family. Thank you to EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network for airing this show. We love that. Thank you to Guadalupe Radio Network for producing the show. Our wonderful producer, Tim Mott. Our call screeners today, Libby and Carol, doing a great job. Don't forget that we're coming up on the second week of Advent, and the focus is peace. This week was hope. Next week is peace. Don't forget to go to Mass on Immaculate Conception on Monday, and that'll do it, you guys. Oh, definitely go to Mass this weekend for this second week of Advent. For Adam Bly, I'm Debbie Georgiani. Until next Saturday, have a beautiful and blessed week. We'll see you real soon.